In a world where every beep, buzz, and notification seems determined to steal our attention, the art of focus opens a doorway to reclaiming the one resource that truly matters, our focus. From the very first page, the book challenges us to consider focus not as a rare talent bestowed upon a fortunate few, but as an essential skill that, with practice and discipline, can be cultivated and mastered by anyone. The introduction lays the foundation for a journey into understanding how our minds work, how distractions take hold, and, more importantly, how we can harness our inner power to carve out moments of undisturbed concentration in the midst of a chaotic environment. At its core, the art of focus explains that our ability to concentrate is like a muscle. It can be strengthened, refined, and developed over time. The author vividly illustrates that focus is not a mystical gift, but a practical tool, one that can elevate our performance in every aspect of life. Whether it's the pursuit of professional excellence, creative endeavors, or personal well-being, the ability to direct our attention where it is needed most becomes the bedrock upon which success is built. The book's introduction is a call to arms for anyone tired of feeling overwhelmed by a barrage of distractions, urging them to take control of their mental space and, ultimately, their destiny. The narrative seamlessly interweaves scientific insights with practical wisdom. It delves into the workings of the human brain, revealing how modern technology hijacks our natural attention spans and disrupts our innate ability to focus. Through a careful examination of studies and experiments, the book exposes the mechanics behind our susceptibility to distraction, from the neurological triggers to the psychological underpinnings of habit. This scientific grounding does more than just inform. It empowers readers with a clear understanding of why focus is so hard to maintain in our current digital age and what it takes to restore it. By grounding its advice in proven research and real-world examples, the text builds trust and credibility, making it clear that the strategies it proposes are not mere theories, but actionable steps supported by evidence. Moreover, the art of focus invites us to reflect on our everyday choices and how they shape the quality of our attention. The introduction stresses the importance of self-awareness, urging us to identify the small, often unnoticed moments when our focus begins to slip away. It asks us to take a step back and observe our daily routines with a critical eye, an exercise that is both enlightening and, at times, unsettling. It is a wake-up call to recognize that in the constant hustle of modern life, every moment of distraction chips away at our potential. The book asserts that by becoming mindful of these patterns, we can begin to reclaim control, reorienting our priorities toward what truly matters. Throughout the opening chapters, the narrative is interlaced with vivid anecdotes and case studies from individuals who transformed their lives by mastering the art of focus. These stories serve not only to inspire, but also to illustrate that the journey to improved concentration is both personal and universal. The book offers a compassionate yet challenging perspective. While our environments may be designed to fragment our attention, our minds hold the remarkable capacity to overcome these hurdles. The language is engaging and relatable, inviting the audience to see themselves in the stories of those who have faced similar struggles and emerged victorious through the disciplined practice of focus. The author also addresses a common misconception that achieving focus requires a complete isolation from the world. Instead, the book reveals that true focus comes from learning how to navigate the myriad stimuli of daily life with grace and intentionality. It emphasizes that the goal is not to shut out the world, but to train our minds to select and nurture the signals that are most beneficial to our goals. This balanced approach makes the process of cultivating focus seem both attainable and realistic, even amidst the inevitable distractions of modern life. In presenting these ideas, the art of focus does more than just offer a roadmap for personal improvement. It paints a picture of what life could look like when we harness our attention fully. The introduction is both an invitation and a promise. By mastering the art of focus, we open the door to creativity, productivity, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. The narrative resonates on a deeply human level, touching on universal themes such as purpose, potential, and the relentless quest for meaning in an ever-changing world. As the introduction draws to a close, the reader is left with a profound realization. The battle for focus is not fought in isolation, but in the everyday decisions that shape our lives. It is an invitation to embark on a transformative journey, one that begins with a single, deliberate step toward reclaiming our attention, and, by extension, our future. So, as you stand on the threshold of this transformative journey, ask yourself, what hidden opportunities lie dormant in your mind, waiting for the spark of true focus to ignite them? Welcome to the first chapter of The Art of Focus, titled The Importance of Concentration. In this chapter, we delve into the transformative power of concentration and uncover how it serves as the foundation for psychological clarity, increased productivity, and inner peace. From the outset, the chapter invites us to reimagine our mental landscape by highlighting that concentration is not merely the absence of distractions, but rather a deliberate, empowering practice that enables us to harness our mental energies toward achieving our most meaningful goals. The chapter begins by explaining that concentration is much more than a fleeting state of mind. It is the cornerstone of psychological clarity. The book illustrates that when we focus our attention, we are able to sift through the clutter of thoughts and emotions that often cloud our judgment. Psychological clarity is achieved when we take the time to quiet the incessant chatter of our minds, allowing us to see our thoughts, feelings, and decisions with greater precision. For instance, consider an artist who, after years of scattered efforts, finally sits in a calm environment, free from the typical interruptions of daily life. In that quiet moment, the artist experiences a surge of insight and inspiration, a clear mental canvas upon which to create. This clarity is not simply about making decisions more quickly. It is about understanding the underlying patterns in our thoughts and behaviors, enabling us to navigate life's complexities with a newfound sense of awareness. Building upon this foundation, the chapter transitions into a discussion of increased productivity, another vital benefit of sustained concentration. The text emphasizes that productivity is not measured by the number of hours spent working, but by the quality and focus of our work during those hours. By cultivating the art of concentration, individuals can work more efficiently, achieving more in less time, while preserving their energy for other important aspects of life. The book provides a compelling example of a writer who struggled with deadlines due to constant interruptions. Once the writer learned to create a dedicated space for focused work, free from digital distractions and the lure of multitasking, the flow of ideas and productivity increased dramatically. This shift did not only result in faster task completion, but also in a higher caliber of output, as deep concentration allowed the writer to immerse fully in the creative process. Here, concentration is portrayed not merely as a tool for getting things done, but as a catalyst for producing work that resonates with quality and depth. Furthermore, the importance of concentration explores how focus leads to inner peace, a state of calm and equilibrium that can transform our entire existence. In today's fast-paced world, inner peace often seems like an elusive goal, overshadowed by the chaos of everyday responsibilities and relentless external demands. However, the chapter reassures us that by dedicating time to the practice of concentration, we gradually carve out moments of stillness within ourselves. This inner peace emerges as we learn to disconnect from the noise around us and tune into our inner dialogue. The book shares the experience of a busy executive who, amid the pressures of a high-stakes career, made a conscious effort to integrate short periods of focused meditation into the daily routine. Over time, these periods of quiet reflection not only improved the executive's decision-making, but also fostered a sense of tranquility and balance. This narrative illustrates that inner peace is not a luxury reserved for the few, but an attainable state that enriches our lives by enhancing our emotional resilience and overall well-being. Throughout the chapter, the narrative seamlessly weaves these key concepts: psychological clarity, increased productivity, and inner peace into a coherent framework that underscores the interdependence of a focused mind and a fulfilling life. The author underscores that concentration is not an innate trait limited to a select few. It is a skill that can be nurtured and refined through deliberate practice and mindful effort. Each example presented in the chapter serves as a testament to the transformative impact of focus, urging the reader to recognize the profound benefits that come from training the mind to operate with intention. The chapter also addresses common misconceptions about concentration. It clarifies that the journey to achieving a focused state is not about rigidly isolating oneself from the world, but rather about learning to manage distractions and prioritize what truly matters. This balanced approach makes the art of concentration accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or the demands of their daily lives. By emphasizing practical techniques and real-life examples, the chapter demystifies the process of developing focus, inviting the audience to embark on a personal journey toward mental empowerment. As we conclude this chapter, the book leaves us with a powerful takeaway. Mastering concentration is a lifelong practice that yields benefits far beyond the realms of work and productivity. It transforms the way we experience life, allowing us to engage more deeply with our passions, relationships, and personal growth. Each focused moment is a step toward a clearer, more intentional existence, one where the mind is not a battleground of conflicting thoughts, but a well-tuned instrument poised to create beauty and meaning. So, as you reflect on these insights and consider your own journey toward focus, ask yourself, what small shift in your daily routine could unlock a new level of clarity, productivity, and inner peace in your life? Embark on a journey into the realm of mental mastery with the second chapter of The Art of Focus, titled The Art of Controlling the Mind. In this enlightening segment, we explore how deliberate practices can transform the way we interact with our thoughts and emotions, ultimately enabling us to steer our mental energies with purpose and clarity. The chapter opens by inviting us to challenge the notion that our minds are uncontrollable forces, instead presenting them as instruments that can be refined and directed through consistent practice. It introduces a series of powerful techniques: meditation, self-reflection, living in the present moment, breath awareness, making lists, and digital detox, that together form a comprehensive approach to regaining control over our inner world. The narrative begins with meditation, which is portrayed not as a mystical or esoteric ritual, but as a practical exercise in mental training. Meditation offers a pathway to quiet the incessant chatter of our minds, allowing us to create a calm space in which clarity can emerge. The book describes the experience of an individual who started with just 5 minutes of mindful sitting each morning. Over time, this simple yet consistent practice evolved into a transformative ritual, easing stress and enhancing the capacity to concentrate on complex tasks. Meditation, as explained in the chapter, is an accessible tool that turns brief moments of stillness into enduring mental resilience. Closely linked with meditation is the practice of self-reflection. This technique encourages us to delve deeper into our thought processes and emotional patterns, providing insights into the habits that either support or undermine our ability to focus. The book offers the example of a creative professional plagued by procrastination. Through regular self-reflection, she began to notice the triggers that led her to lose focus, often moments of unresolved anxiety or distraction. Recognizing these patterns allowed her to implement strategies to counteract them, thereby reclaiming her productivity and creativity. Self-reflection, therefore, is not about self-criticism. It is a constructive practice that equips us with the knowledge to improve our mental discipline. Living in the present moment is another fundamental concept detailed in this chapter. Our minds often wander to regrets of the past or worries about the future, robbing us of the richness of the now. By focusing on the present, we can engage more deeply with our experiences. A particularly striking illustration is provided through the story of a busy parent who, overwhelmed by daily responsibilities, began to practice mindfulness by paying attention to the simple pleasures of life: a shared meal, a child's laughter, or the quiet moments of a sunset. This parent discovered that grounding oneself in the present can turn ordinary moments into sources of joy and profound insight. Breath awareness is seamlessly integrated into these practices as a means to anchor ourselves in the moment. The book explains that focusing on our breathing is a straightforward yet effective way to stabilize our thoughts during moments of stress or distraction. An example is shared of an executive who, amidst the pressure of high-stakes meetings, would take a few deliberate, deep breaths. This simple act helped him reset his mental state, restore composure, and face challenges with a renewed sense of calm. The emphasis on breath awareness reinforces the idea that sometimes the simplest techniques can yield the most significant benefits. Beyond these internal practices, the chapter highlights the importance of external organization in controlling the mind. One such strategy is the simple act of making lists. By writing down tasks and priorities, we can transfer the burden of memory from our minds to paper, reducing mental clutter and anxiety. The text recounts the experience of a student who, feeling overwhelmed by academic demands, discovered that daily to-do lists transformed her approach to work. The act of listing not only clarified her priorities, but also imbued her day with a sense of structure and purpose. This practice underscores the idea that mental control is achieved through a combination of inner reflection and practical, tangible strategies. Finally, the chapter turns its focus to the modern challenge of digital distraction, advocating for periodic digital detoxes. In an age of constant connectivity, our attention is perpetually at risk of being hijacked by the digital world. The book presents the story of a software developer who, after incorporating regular breaks from screens and social media, experienced a remarkable improvement in concentration and overall mental well-being. By establishing tech-free zones and setting boundaries for digital use, he found that his mind could recover and rejuvenate, making space for more mindful practices. The digital detox is portrayed as a balanced, essential practice rather than an extreme measure, encouraging us to reclaim control over our time and mental energy. Throughout The Art of Controlling the Mind, the chapter weaves together these practices into a holistic framework designed to empower us to manage our thoughts and emotions more effectively. The integration of meditation, self-reflection, living in the present, breath awareness, making lists, and digital detox provides a multifaceted approach to mastering our inner world. The techniques shared are not merely theoretical. They are rooted in practical, real-life examples that illustrate their effectiveness in transforming chaos into clarity. As you consider the insights from this chapter and contemplate the practical techniques presented, reflect on the potential impact these methods could have on your daily life. How might integrating even one of these practices, be it a moment of meditation, a daily list, or a brief digital detox, usher in a new era of control, calm, and clarity in your life? Have you ever sat down to complete a task, only to find your mind wandering within minutes, thinking about dinner, checking your phone, or replaying a random memory from 3 years ago? You're not alone. In today's world, concentration has become one of our most precious and elusive skills. That's exactly what Chapter 3 of The Art of Focus, titled Techniques to Improve Concentration, sets out to address. This chapter is a practical guide, rich with proven techniques that help us cut through mental noise and sharpen our attention where it matters most. In this chapter, the author introduces 3 powerful tools for improving concentration: mindfulness meditation, the importance of taking breaks, and the art of visualization. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're concrete, research-backed techniques that anyone can apply, no matter their background or profession. Whether you're a student trying to study more effectively, a professional aiming to perform at your peak, or simply someone looking to stay more present throughout the day, these techniques provide a roadmap to a more focused, intentional life. We begin with mindfulness meditation. This practice, now widely adopted in both Eastern and Western traditions, is a simple yet profound method of training the mind to stay present. The idea is to sit quietly, focus on the breath, and gently guide the attention back each time it strays. It's not about suppressing thoughts. It's about learning to notice them without getting swept away. The book shares the story of a busy entrepreneur who began meditating for just 10 minutes each morning. Within weeks, he reported being calmer under pressure and far less distracted throughout his workday. Over time, those 10 minutes became his anchor, offering him a reset before the storm of daily responsibilities. The chapter emphasizes that mindfulness meditation doesn't require perfection. It simply requires consistency. Like a muscle, your ability to focus strengthens the more you practice. The next technique centers on something that might seem counterintuitive: taking breaks. Many people believe powering through without stopping is the best way to get things done. But science and this chapter tell a different story. Our brains are not wired for endless hours of uninterrupted focus. In fact, productivity peaks when we allow our minds periodic moments of rest. The book explains how these breaks don't have to be long. Even stepping away for 5 minutes every hour to stretch, walk, or get some fresh air can significantly boost mental stamina. Take the example of a graphic designer who hit creative blocks during marathon work sessions. By scheduling short, regular breaks, she found that ideas flowed more naturally and stress levels dropped. Breaks help reset cognitive energy, reduce decision fatigue, and ultimately enhance the depth and quality of our concentration. Another standout method explored in the chapter is visualization. Unlike meditation, which quiets the mind, visualization actively engages it. This technique involves mentally rehearsing an outcome you want to achieve or picturing yourself going through the steps to complete a goal. Visualization is particularly popular among athletes and performers, but its power extends far beyond those fields. The book offers an example of a college student preparing for final exams. Instead of just studying the material, he visualized himself calmly entering the exam room, recalling the answers with clarity and writing confidently. This mental rehearsal created a sense of familiarity and reduced anxiety, allowing him to stay composed and focused during the real test. Visualization works because it conditions the brain to respond more effectively under pressure, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with success and concentration. These three techniques, mindfulness meditation, strategic breaks, and visualization, may seem simple, but together they create a powerful system for improving mental focus. The author emphasizes that the magic lies in their integration. For example, a few minutes of mindfulness in the morning can set the tone for the day. Strategic breaks can maintain your momentum, and visualization can help you approach key moments with clarity and confidence. When practiced regularly, these habits begin to reshape the mind, making concentration not just a state you occasionally fall into, but a skill you carry with you. Importantly, this chapter doesn't promise overnight transformation. Instead, it invites the reader to see focus as a practice, something that gets easier, stronger, and more intuitive with time. The distractions of modern life won't disappear, but your response to them can evolve. And that's where true power lies. Not in eliminating every source of interruption, but in building a mind that knows how to return, again and again, to what matters. As we close this chapter, take a moment to reflect. What if improving your focus isn't about trying harder, but about training smarter? Could these small, daily habits be the key to unlocking the deep, sustained attention you have been chasing? And with that thought, we leave you with a question to carry into the next chapter. What role does your environment play in shaping your ability to concentrate? And how can you design it to work for you, not against you? Imagine waking up each morning with clarity, moving through your day with intention, and ending it with a sense of accomplishment. That's the power of applying focus in daily life. In Chapter 4 of The Art of Focus, we move beyond theory and internal techniques into the real world, where focus becomes a lived experience. This chapter is about taking the mindfulness, discipline, and awareness we've learned so far and putting them into action through structured routines, habit formation, and goal setting. The chapter opens with a simple but powerful truth. Focus thrives on structure. In a world filled with distractions, having a plan gives our attention direction. Without it, we're like a boat without a rudder, easily blown off course. That's where planning and routines come in. The book emphasizes that the most focused individuals don't just react to the day. They shape it in advance. For example, take the story of a high school teacher who once felt overwhelmed, juggling work, grading, and personal time. She began structuring her day using a morning and evening routine, waking up at the same time, reviewing her top 3 priorities, and setting aside time blocks for work and rest. Within weeks, her mental fatigue decreased, and she began ending her days with energy still in the tank. These routines don't have to be rigid or robotic. In fact, the book makes it clear that flexibility is just as important as structure. The goal is to reduce decision fatigue, the mental drain caused by having to choose what to do next all day long. When certain elements of your day are automated through routine, your brain is freed up to concentrate on deeper, more meaningful tasks. Whether it's setting a regular time to exercise, meal prep, or even check emails, a predictable rhythm helps keep your attention steady. Another key concept in this chapter is the power of positive habits. While focus can be summoned in short bursts, true mastery comes from turning focus into a lifestyle, and that happens through habit. The book highlights how habits remove the need for constant willpower. Once something becomes habitual, it's almost effortless. One example given is of a writer who committed to writing just 500 words a day, no matter what. At first, it was a struggle, but after a few weeks, the habit kicked in. Not only did the writing become easier, but the quality improved as distractions lost their grip on him. His creative energy was no longer scattered. It was harnessed by consistency. Importantly, the chapter stresses that small habits matter. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. The author encourages starting with 1 or 2 new habits that align with your bigger goals. It could be journaling every evening, meditating for 5 minutes in the morning, or setting a daily intention before starting work. These micro habits create a domino effect. The act of showing up for yourself every day builds trust, discipline, and momentum. 3 ingredients essential to maintaining focus in the long run. And that brings us to one of the most impactful tools discussed in this chapter: goal setting. If focus is a beam of light, goals are the lens that sharpen it. The book challenges the idea of vague goals like be more productive or get in shape. Instead, it advocates for clarity and specificity. For example, saying, "I will finish my first draft by May 30" gives your mind a clear target. It transforms your focus from passive attention to purposeful action. The chapter shares the story of a recent graduate navigating her first job in side business. She began breaking her big goals into weekly milestones and daily actions. Not only did this keep her motivated, but it also helped her avoid overwhelm. With each small win, her confidence grew, and with it, her ability to stay focused, despite the chaos of life around her. The lesson here is that goals don't just give us something to aim at. They organize our energy and attention, making it easier to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. The art of focus doesn't claim that focus eliminates life's challenges. What it does say, loud and clear, is that focus equips you to face them with greater clarity, resilience, and purpose. By building a life structured around intentional routines, supportive habits, and meaningful goals, your focus becomes not just something you do, but a part of who you are. This chapter is a reminder that your daily life is not separate from your focus practice. Every choice, every morning, every small action is an opportunity to align your attention with your values. So here's a question to carry with you into the next chapter. What happens when focus meets the unpredictability of the real world? Stress, change, and setbacks. Can you stay centered even when everything around you isn't? Have you ever set your sights on a goal, only to find yourself sidetracked by doubt, distractions, or plain old exhaustion? In chapter of The Art of Focus, titled Overcoming Obstacles and Finding Motivation, we explore the real challenges that stand between us and the focused life we want to live, and, more importantly, how to face those challenges head-on. Up to this point, the book has taught us techniques for building focus and applying it to our daily routines. But here's the truth. No matter how well we plan or how disciplined we try to be, life will throw obstacles in our path. Setbacks, criticism, lack of energy, or even our own inner voices can derail our best intentions. That's why this chapter is crucial. It teaches us not just how to start focusing, but how to keep going when things get tough. One of the key tools discussed in this chapter is self-talk. What we say to ourselves when we're struggling can either lift us up or bury us under doubt. According to the book, self-talk is not just a mental habit, but a powerful force that can reshape our focus and motivation. Think about it. When you hit a wall, do you tell yourself, "I can't do this," or "This is hard, but I've handled tough things before"? That shift in language might seem small, but it changes everything. The author shares the story of a young athlete recovering from an injury. At first, his inner voice was full of frustration and defeat, but through intentional self-talk, he began replacing thoughts like, "I'm falling behind" with, "This is my time to rebuild." That mental pivot became the foundation for his return. Self-talk doesn't magically make problems disappear, but it does give us the mindset to face them with strength and persistence. Closely tied to this is the concept of resilience, the ability to bounce back, to keep showing up, especially when motivation is low. The book points out that focus isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Everyone gets distracted. Everyone feels discouraged. The difference between those who give up and those who keep going isn't natural talent, it's resilience. One practical example from the chapter is of a mother of 2 who was studying part-time while working a full-time job. Her schedule was chaotic, and distractions were endless. But instead of waiting for the perfect time to study, she learned to focus in short, consistent bursts. She forgave herself for bad days and celebrated small wins. Over time, her resilience transformed what seemed impossible into something sustainable. The author explains that resilience is not a personality trait, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be practiced. Every time you choose to return to your goal after a setback, you strengthen your focus muscle. Every time you keep going, when it would be easier to quit, you're building the kind of mental toughness that turns short-term effort into long-term success. But where does the energy to do that come from? That's where motivation enters the picture. The book describes motivation not as something that strikes randomly, but as something that can be cultivated. And that cultivation starts with understanding your why. Why are you doing this? What purpose fuels your goal? The chapter introduces the idea of internal versus external motivation. External motivation might be a deadline, a reward, or someone else's approval. These can be helpful in the short term, but they're not always reliable. Internal motivation, on the other hand, comes from your values, your passions, your purpose, and it's far more sustainable. Take the story of a writer who had always dreamed of finishing a novel but kept putting it off. Deadlines didn't work. Neither did peer pressure. But when he reconnected with the reason he started writing in the first place, to tell stories that move people, something clicked. His focus returned, not because he had to write, but because he wanted to. That shift from external pressure to internal purpose reignited his drive. The book encourages readers to revisit their why regularly, especially when motivation dips. It also recommends practical techniques to stay inspired. Journaling, creating visual reminders of your goals, and surrounding yourself with people who reflect your values. These small but intentional actions can keep your motivation alive when willpower runs thin. Ultimately, chapter 2 reminds us that the path to focus is not linear. There will be obstacles. There will be moments of doubt. But if we can master our self-talk, build our resilience, and stay connected to our inner motivation, we can navigate any challenge and stay the course. So, if you've been feeling stuck or wondering whether you're cut out for this journey, know this, you are. Focus is not a gift for the few. It's a choice we make, moment by moment. And with every setback you overcome, you're not losing focus, you're learning how to deepen it. As we reach the final pages of The Art of Focus, we are reminded that focus is not a finish line, but a lifelong journey. It's not something you achieve once and for all, but a skill, a mindset, and a way of living that you return to, day after day, moment after moment. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, the ability to direct your attention with purpose has become one of the most valuable tools for leading a meaningful, productive, and peaceful life. This book has not simply offered techniques, it has extended an invitation to slow down, to become intentional, and to reclaim your power over your own mind. Throughout these chapters, we've explored the many dimensions of focus, from understanding its importance to cultivating it through discipline and daily habits, and from learning how to overcome internal and external obstacles to designing an environment that supports sustained attention. We've seen that focus is not just about doing more. In fact, it's often about doing less, more deliberately. It's about choosing what matters most and having the strength to ignore what doesn't. It's about building a life where clarity, presence, and direction are the default, not the exception. But knowledge alone is not enough. What truly transforms our lives is application. The ideas in this book are meant to be practiced, tested, and lived, not just remembered. If there's one final takeaway from The Art of Focus, it's this. You already have everything within you to live with more focus. You don't need to be perfect, or constantly motivated, or free of distractions. You just need to be willing to return your attention, again and again, to the things that truly matter. So how do you take this knowledge and carry it forward into your everyday life? Start by giving yourself the gift of planning. Take time each morning, or even the night before, to decide where your attention will go. A simple daily plan, rooted in your goals and values, can protect you from being pulled in a dozen directions. Choose 3 things each day that truly matter and let them guide your focus. You'll find that structure isn't limiting, it's liberating. Build routines that serve you. Your morning, your workspace, your evenings, they're all opportunities to create systems that support focus. Make room in your day for silence, for breaks, and for reflection. Even 5 minutes of mindfulness can reset a scattered mind and anchor you in the present. Let your environment be a quiet partner in your focus journey, not a silent saboteur. Guard your attention as you would your most valuable resource, because it is. Begin to notice where your focus goes throughout the day. What triggers distraction? What nourishes clarity? Awareness is the first step to change. From there, set boundaries with your time and energy. Learn to say no with grace, knowing that every no is also a yes, to yourself, to your peace, to your priorities. Don't wait for motivation. As we've learned, action often precedes inspiration, not the other way around. Focus is not a feeling, it's a decision. Start small, take the first step, even when you don't feel like it. Trust that the rhythm will come once you begin. Practice resilience. Life will interrupt your plans. You'll have days when you fall short, when your focus slips, when everything feels urgent and overwhelming. Let those moments be part of your learning, not the end of your journey. The most focused people aren't those who never stray, but those who know how to gently return, and most importantly, revisit your why. When the work gets hard, when the distractions feel louder than your intentions, reconnect with your deeper purpose. Why do you want to focus? What kind of life are you building? The answers to those questions are your fuel, and they're always within reach. The art of focus is more than a guidebook. It's a mirror. It reflects the truth that each of us has the ability to live a life of greater clarity, deeper presence, and intentional action, but only if we choose it. So choose it, each day. Choose to live on purpose. Choose to slow down when the world speeds up. Choose to give your best energy to what truly deserves it. That is the essence of focus. As you close this book, remember that focus is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about remembering that your attention is your most powerful currency, and every moment is a chance to invest it wisely. Now ask yourself, what's one small change you can make today to honor your focus and align your life with what truly matters? Because the next chapter isn't written in these pages, it's written in your daily life, and it begins now.